Now, let me ask you to introduce yourselves by table, please. And then I'll ask somebody from each organization, a representative at the table, to come up and talk about what you do.
The Young Adult Guidance Center is an independent living program for youth ages 15 and 21. And what they do is help single moms who can't handle their sons, or children who might be homeless, or young men that might be homeless, get through school, get their GEDs, and become great people to put in society, and they can lead their own life. From what I've learned, we have a mentoring program. We're starting a Medicaid core program to help them get their medicine, help them see their doctors and nurses, and get help in, I guess, mental problems that are not always necessarily mental illness. It can be frustration. It could just be that you're homeless and you don't have anywhere to go. You're depressed, all types of things. So again, I'm kind of new at this, so I don't have a lot to tell you. We have been given continuing funding by the Department of Health and Human Services. We found out yesterday. We're open to helping others, and we hope that you'll help us too. Thank you.
My name is Vincent Castellanti. Let's see, I do a lot of different things, like I said. So Food Not Bombs is a decentralized network of autonomous collectives. We take food that was going to be thrown away, and we cook free vegetarian and vegan meals and serve them in public to whoever's hungry. So I also do Cop Watch, which is a similar in organization, where it's this kind of autonomous groups that videotape police harassment. When we see any kind of encounter between the police and the public, we get out our video camera and we videotape it. And as we all know, the homeless demographic is heavily harassed, and so that's one thing we do. And Take Back the Land is a nationwide campaign to try and liberate land and housing from commodification. It's when we have homeless people and empty houses, it doesn't take a rocket scientist to figure out what needs to be done. And so Take Back the Land works with not only reclaiming abandoned houses and putting them to use, but also eviction defenses. So people who are going to be evicted due to foreclosure or just because of the state of the economy, eviction defenses are organized. I believe there was that's featured in Michael Moore's recent film, Capitalism: A Love Story. They did they showed an eviction defense in progress in that movie. And so if anyone is interested in participating in any of these things.
Good afternoon, my name is Audrey Jones. I'm just going to speak briefly on the good portion of my ending up here and tell you why. After I get you to respond to me when I say "ça passe." Does anybody know what to say back? Come on, because everyone's going to say it in just a minute.
Isn't it like not boule, something like that?
Not boule. Okay, so everybody heard it. I'm going to say "sac passe," and you're going to say "not boule," and then I'm going to tell you what you said. Sac passe.
Not boule.
Right on. What just happened was I said, "What's up?" and you said, "Not much." So basically, that's Haitian Creole. And I just got back from Haiti. I spent 7 weeks volunteering for an organization called JPHRO, which some of you may recognize as Jenkins Penn Haitian Relief Organization. And this is an amazing organization that decided that all of the stockpiling on the tarmacs and all of the aid that wasn't going to get through to people, they just went around it and they did the very best they could to make it so that they could be a functional, efficient, fast-working assistance to the Haitian people after the earthquake. Well, I'm a post-immediate trauma non-medical volunteer. And so I spent 7 weeks working in and around that organization. I'm going to draw a parallel to what you guys are here for real quick, because I'd like you to imagine 55,000 homeless people in individual and group tents on a 9-hole golf course with a 24-hour medical facility thanks to DPHRO and drinking water thanks to DPHRO, but that's about it. There's a marketplace, people come in with foods and things for these people to partake in, but what currency are they using? They don't have jobs, most of them. There's some cash for work programs that allow people to get work for a day here and there, but ultimately, by and large, this is a plot of land with 55,000 homeless people. And these are children.
Hey everybody, my name is Mary Weitzman. I'm with St. Joseph's Mercy Care Services, and we are primary medical. We are part of the Community Homeless Outreach Program that go to the streets, trying to assist our homeless population, no matter where they may be, on the bridges or whatever. Within our organization, we have many different programs. We have our mental health, case management, we have substance abuse counseling, our HIV prevention team that goes out and does testing, and among other programs within the agency. We'll be coming up on our 25th anniversary on October the 6th. We have a new expansion of our building, and on October the 9th, everybody is invited to come out to our 6th annual Fall Festival, which will there be many activities as well as medical services as well. And we're kind of short on time, so I'm sorry. But we have a lot of different medical sites, walk-in sites for the homeless population. Anybody that does not have medical benefits are welcome to go to any of those sites. Gateway and Crossroads, which is St. Luke's, is open 5 days a week, Monday through Friday from 9 to 3:30. We have walk-ins at our office at 424 Decatur Street on Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays from 8:30 to 10:30. And then every Thursday we have walk-ins for dental from 8:30 to 10:30. So that's a big...
I'm Pastor Andy Odell, and I'm the Director of Church on the Street Ministries. And we primarily focus on being out on the streets with the poor and homeless who find the streets as their primary lodging place. So we are out in the parks, parking lots, alleyways to develop relationships with those who are there, and then hopefully to be able to build a relationship of trust where then we can connect them with agencies like yourselves. Where basically we can vouch for you because we're out there with them, so we can say, here's a place that actually cares about you and the homeless. We also have a Center for Practical Theology, and there are a few pieces to that. One is we try to train and consult with churches to help them to be attentive to their vulnerable neighbors, whoever they happen to be. We also train volunteers to be what we call street pastors, which is basically to kind of do what we do, to be out on the streets with the poorest of the poor, developing relationships. And then we have an educational piece as well that some of you might be interested in, but we try to look at different issues dealing with the poor, whether that be in policy or church practices, through a theological lens as opposed to an ideological lens. So we try to do some writing and some things as far as that's concerned. So that's all I have to say, unless you have a question.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Miles Edwards. I'm from ATL Webmag, Arts, Trade, and Lifestyle. Basically, I'm the founder and writer of a independent web magazine based on the Atlanta metro area. Basically, it's commercial news with a alternative appeal, a mix between the Creative Loafing and AJC. I was invited out here by Miss Betty. I basically met Miss Betty and her organization, the Atlanta Task Force, last week because I'm currently doing an article on the homeless problem in Atlanta. Well, basically it's a 4-part series. It's basically talking about various things that homeless people go through. The reason that intrigued me to write this article, I've been down here on my own since I was 17, since 1996. I'm basically 32 this year. And upon living down here, I developed a relationship with a homeless couple, Denise and Ernest Smith. I met them. I used to work down at Turner Field in high school, and basically every day after the baseball games, I used to give them my change from tip money and everything. And basically over the years, that actually developed into a personal relationship with them. And I mean, I can go on with stories and stories about these two, but basically recently I lost contact with the both of them, but come to find out, Denise recently died of lung cancer. And Ernest, he's basically, I'm basically trying to conduct a search to find him, so upon me doing this search to find him, I'm basically doing this article about the homeless problem in Atlanta, what can Atlanta do to actually make the homeless community better as far as to put forth better efforts to assist them, instead of people having this idea that homeless people doesn't do anything. All they do is just lay around and they just sit around and ask people for change, they dirty, so on and so forth. People get these false images of homeless people, but upon just the second article that I wrote about the Atlanta Task Force last week, I mean, that just proves that, you know, there are people out there who's trying to do something with themselves, but some of them may not have the encouragement to do so. But again, the Atlanta Task Force is one of the organizations I have been proud to come and meet and see the things that they're doing for the community, such as Mr. Lattimore here. I am just amused to hear about his story and everything. And
good afternoon again. My name is Valerie Dawson, and I'm a volunteer with the Task Force for the Homeless. At one time, I was employed, but since they stopped our income, because I'm a servant of God, I'm still there. And what we do there is provide resources. Sometimes we don't have the resources, so we connect with other agencies that have the resources, such as food. It could be a hot meal, groceries if the person living in the place. It could be rental assistance or utility. We'll connect them or refer them to agencies that provide the income for that. We also refer people for transportation service, bridge cars, to get jobs perhaps, and we work with medical teams from Grady, some from Cascade United Way. Not United Way, cut that. Cascade United Methodist Church. Many times we have people that come in and they realize they need more education. We refer them to different organizations that help with that. So we do a number of things there. Provide eyeglasses and refer them to like St. Joseph for dental and medical service, especially those that have no insurance. So we're there every day. We have a 24-hour hotline. There's always going to be a person at the other end of the phone to receive it.
Yes, good afternoon. My name is Hameen Dewan with National Association of Black Veterans. Excuse me, and I'm going to leave the information on NAB vets and GAP vets to Balewa Alamayu about our programs. But in terms of Veterans for Community Services, we assist homeless veterans as well as anyone that is homeless or displaced. But one of the problems we ran into was funding, or the lack of funding. So my partner and I came up with a unique idea of developing a program, and I'm the project manager of a pilot project called Funding Charities. And my responsibility is to go out and locate charitable organizations that are in need of funding. It is a very unique project that we're working on that will be funded by corporate America should certain contracts be signed. So what I ask you to do is, if you are in need of funding, would you please contact me? I'll leave my business cards. We will place your organization on our website that is under development, where you can come and sign up yourself. You log on to the website, you have your own password, you have your own administration area, and then we are developing unique products that will be a gift to charities that you in turn can sell to raise money for your organizations. So please see me, and those that are interested.
Hi, I'm Dee with GAVETS, and okay, first of all, I want you to know that we assist the homeless and the veterans and the incarcerated veterans. GAVETS started like in 2009, and at that time we only had 3 projects. We had we were doing claims, which is processing their medical claims to go to the VA. And we do stand-down trips, which is where we take them to different locations where they give them either clothing or they give them free screenings, or the VA administration a lot of times is there set up to help them with their benefits and everything. Also, out of those 3 projects, we had the postal, which veterans a lot of times need, especially when they're homeless, they need mailing addresses, and a lot of times they don't have where they can have their mail to be provided to them. Out of that, I guess I started with GAVATS in March of this year, and we have like several other programs that we have added to our projects. One of them is yoga. We have yoga class like maybe twice a month, and the yoga, all these classes are therapeutic for the veterans. It's either going to give them a stress relief, or it's going to build muscles, or it's going to do something for them to take them away from, you know, being on the streets and with all the chaos and everything that they're going through right now. We have Qigong, it's QI, I think it's QIGONE, but it's pronounced Qigong. And they just started with us last Thursday, so they come out and they're like another healing and therapeutic session that we have at the office downtown. We also have Horses for Homeless Heroes, where we take our veterans out to Chastain Horse Park once or twice a month. They get to mount or non-mount if they don't want to ride, and they get to connect some kind of way with the horses. This is another part of therapy for them, or, you know, a stress relief thing for them. It says it improves efficiency in use of prosthesis, because we had one Vietnam War veteran that we took out there who has no legs, and he was able to, they had the equipment to mount him and everything. So we also, you know, we're looking for war heroes like that as well. We have the massage person that comes out. She comes to the office once or twice a month. She also goes to the park with us sometimes, to the horse park, and gives therapy. Horses for Heroes Families is one that just kicked off pretty much. We're waiting for that to fully get established. This is for our heroic veterans to be able to include their families. We also have, we've just created movies for them, where they have movies down at the office on Walton Street. That's a way of getting them out of the cold or out of the heat and giving them some kind of stress relief there. We also have a program called Incarcerated Veterans Community Reentry. That's where our veterans, when they come out of prison, pretty much, we try to keep them from going back. And once they come out, we try to make sure we have resources for them to reunite back into the community. Our upcoming events, upcoming projects rather, we have acupuncture, theater stage, which is something I'm trying to get kicked off here. It's called GAVATS Homeless Heroes Stage Plays. And it will be a soldier story. So we're looking for writers and producers to come on board and help us generate that. One of our other upcoming projects is camping. And now we have what we call a GAVATS Inc. one-stop center, where our veterans can come to the office and they can utilize the computer looking for jobs, and they can also use the phone for a certain amount of time. Just wanted to close this by saying it's a great demand for us to have volunteers and get donations for the projects that we have right now. And we are a 501c3 nonprofit organization. We have collaborated with a lot of for-profit and non-profit organizations. So if you're interested in being a part, we're located at 60 Walton Street, the 3rd.
Y'all will give Dee a round of applause. Yeah, Dee is the office manager where I am, and I'm not good at managing. What I do is create. First off, I'd like to thank you all for having us here. Thank you, Anita, for inviting us. As you heard the last two speakers, we deal with veterans. We believe that no veteran should be on the streets of America, period. If they are, we believe there's something mentally wrong with them. And of course, if they're on the streets and the government allows this, then something is wrong with the government. So our job is to get as many veterans off the street as soon as possible. General Shinseki, gave us an order to work with community services such as yours so that we together will be in a position to help these veterans. I'm very passionate about what I do. I'm a Vietnam veteran. I'm a wounded Vietnam veteran. So I have sacrificed a lot for my country, and I know that there are a lot of other veterans who are homeless have done the same thing. There are quite a few of us who have PTSD, which is post-traumatic stress disorder. It is a case of having mental problems as far as memory. So it's not that we're crazy, it's just that we have a tendency to rehash up incidences that took place when we were in combat or in a combat zone. You do understand? Thank you. We would like to let you know we really do appreciate you having us here. We want to work with you to help these veterans, male and female. And as Dee mentioned, we have about 10 projects that we have about 7 of them are up and running. She didn't mention Calvin Center, which is in Hampton, Georgia. That's another project where we're dealing with horses for heroes' families with post-traumatic stress related. And I do know that you know a veteran or a family member of a veteran. And if they have any problems, we'd appreciate you sending them to us. And we would like to work with everybody. We want to collaborate. We are at peace with being humanitarian. That's what we do. And I assume that's what all of you do. So we look
Good afternoon. My name is Stephanie Quinn. I'm with the American Lung Association. We have a program called the Alternative Housing Program. That program, we house TB patients, and the TB patients are referred through health departments. We provide them with residence, we provide them with food, clothing, transportation to and from the clinics. We encourage them to take their DOT medications. We also do financial assistance for TB patients that have their own apartment or their homes. We pay their rent, utilities, we buy them groceries, we give them gas cards for incentives. Whatever we can do to help them to get back on their feet, to continue their DOTs, and to get back out into the work field. And
Stephanie, tell us what DOTs are.
DOT is distributed medication. They take their medications. We have from the health department, they have a staff person that goes out and assists the patients in getting their daily dose of medication. This would, to try to prevent them, to get them better, get them cured.
Peter Jones, and I work with Recovery Consultants of Atlanta as a peer specialist and also their development coordinator, soliciting donations for specific events that we may have throughout the year. We provide housing for homeless people. We put people in treatment centers. We link them to care, whether it's long-term or detox. We provide intervention on domestic violence. And we also provide pre-HIV testing at our facility. And we also provide it out in the community. We may go to like different churches and have like mass testing initiatives where we do the oral swab. And we do provide pre-HIV testing at our office in Decatur, 3423, Covington Drive in Decatur, from 9 to 5. Anyone can come there and get their pre-HIV test. And that's about it. I'm also a student at Georgia State, social work and sociology.
I'm Gloria Slaughter. I'm a member of the Metro Atlanta Task Force for the Homeless policy team. And I'd like to just give just a few minutes on how I met the Metro Task Force for the Homeless and Anita Beatty. There was a big problem in the 80s, and it probably still is a problem in the DeKalb County school system, where homeless students tried to enroll in school, and they had to have papers, they had to have lunch money. They had to have all kinds of other fees. And I got wind from a parent who was trying to enroll her student, and so we went to the Metro Task Force for the Homeless, and we did something about it. The DeKalb County Board of Education moved that any homeless student could enroll in school without the papers or money for lunch or fees. I think we did that in Atlanta, and also began a movement around Cynthia McKinney's homeless assistance bill in Congress. So it began as a little thing, but a very big thing for homeless students. I'm on the board of WRFG Radio 89.3 FM. It's a 24-hour, 7-day-a-week radio station. It's a community station. I won't go into everything, but it's diverse music, diverse public affairs. It gives voice to the voiceless. Some of you have been interviewed, and if you would like to be interviewed, let me know. We have a program called Class Chronicles, which has really highlighted the problems of the homeless, and also the radio station helps with the National Homeless Marathon coming up in October, November. I'm also a retired teacher. My heart is with the children, and I do hate what's going on today. You know, race to the top is a race. There should not be any failing schools in America, and we've always had failing schools in America. And all this money coming to Georgia, $200 million go to 26 schools, systems, $200 million stays in the State Board of Education. And I dare say we will not know what's going to happen with this money. So that's part of my activity in the education system, to bring some kind of a justice, but also some kind of school system where children actually learn. And I could go on and on about that, but I will let John say the rest. We're both on the board of the Georgia Citizens Coalition on Hunger, which mission is to eliminate poverty and hunger in Georgia and eventually the whole country. So that's a big task, and
I just really wanted to say as well that it's really an honor to be a part of a group like this. I mean, it's amazing the work that you're doing, and I think the thing we want to say about us is that we're all on the same page. We're all involved in the same thing. You know, Gloria mentioned the Hunger Coalition, which takes it as its mission to end hunger, homelessness, and poverty. And I think that's probably, you know, we could all say that's our mission. It certainly sounds like it in terms of what some of the things that you've been saying. Do you want me to talk about the tax reform thing now, or wait till later? No. Okay. Well, Gloria and I have written what is called here an open letter to the unjustly taxed and poorly served people of Georgia. And I think there's some copies back there on the table that we invite you to look at. But we wrote this because, you know, we really think it's important that the people of Georgia, including yourselves, be alerted about what's happening in our state. You know, I couldn't help but notice, just looking at the agenda for the meeting today, it talks about income, health care, education, housing, poverty. And those are all issues that we're working on. And one of the things that the Hunger Coalition does is every year that we have a Poor People's Day at the Capitol. and we go to the Capitol to petition the political leaders of our state to please do something about the housing situation in Georgia. Please do something about the education that's failing in Georgia. Please do something about homelessness. And I'm sure that you all realize what's been happening over the past period of time is that we keep getting setbacks and setbacks and setbacks. You know, we aren't making any gains. And particularly last year at the Capitol, almost every day there was somebody going, protesting and demanding that the needs of the people be met. And the result was that we saw even more cuts, even more setbacks. Now, one of the things that came out of the legislature was they passed a bill setting up a special council on tax reform and fairness. And this is what this little letter is trying to call everybody's attention to, because the governor, who's also now a member of this new tax commission, along with the heads of the business organizations, the head of the Chamber of Commerce, and the heads of several other businesses, are coming together to talk about tax reform. And what they're going to be doing is they're coming up in the next session of the legislature to pass legislation that's going to reform the tax structure in the state of Georgia in their interest. So the kinds of things that they're talking about is eliminating income tax altogether, eliminating capital gains taxes, making even more taxes, cuts to the corporations, and shifting all of that tax burden onto sales taxes. And so we're going to see a dramatic increase in our sales taxes, which most, you know, is one of the most progressive tax forms that you can have, because it puts all the burden on the poor, on the people who have to make these necessary purchases. So what we are trying to alert people about and are calling for is that we've really got to do something to stop this. We cannot, if we just wait until next year and these things are put in place, we're going to see ourselves set back even further. And even more so, it'll be consolidating into law. The Georgia Budget and Policy Institute has just come out with a report, and they're a very, very good organization. And one of the things that they point out is that the tax structure we have now was passed in 1937. And it hasn't been a change since. Well, that is a Jim Crow tax structure that we're living with. And we have to change that. And basically what they're trying to do is to even go back even further. And you know what that was. So we're saying that we have to go on the offensive ourselves. We have to put out some just tax reform. And I think the thing that we want to point out to is you know, a lot of the things that are taking place today is people are putting out the argument is that we have to take these cuts because we just don't have the resources. Well, the resources are there. We just have to go where the money is. And where the money is where the top 10% of the population and the corporations are. So one of the specific kinds of things that we are recommending is that we talk about introducing in the state of Georgia a progressive tax reform where the income tax would be shifted onto more fairly and more justly onto the poor, onto the rich and the corporations. So we're going to continue to be talking about that, and it's going to be a part of the debate that's going on in the state of Georgia about our future. But if we don't do something, we're going to see ourselves being cut back even more, and we have to look at how we're going to be moving forward. So thank you.
Thank you. We're glad you're here, Milt. Milt Tamber with Atlantans Fighting Foreclosure Organization, as well as the Democratic Socialists Organization. Come ahead and tell us what you do, a little briefly. Thank you. Let me just say this also, that the Slaughters, Gloria and John, are the most faithful, most vigilant, compassionate, and consistent supporters of all things social justice oriented in any way that I've seen. And we all owe them our support and gratitude for their tireless witness in dozens of organizations. They don't miss anything, and they're always with us. And MZ Tate, we're so glad to see you. Come on up too. Diane, do not keep sitting down there at the end of the line. She's very bad. Okay, thank you.
I'm sorry, I missed most of the meeting. Had a chance to do an interview on WRFG to talk about a national action that's going to be happening October the 2nd. Are most people familiar with the March on Washington on October 2nd? I see a few people nodding and some people not. Well, just a quick summary. It's called One Nation Working Together. The theme is for jobs, justice, and education for all. Now the intent is, and it's been built by unions and by civil rights organizations. NAACP was a prime mover in making this happen, as was the hospital workers in New York. So come October the 2nd, the expectation is that there will be as many as 500,000 people in Washington demonstrating for jobs, justice, and education. So if you want some more information, the NAACP has buses. We're going to see how things are going to get finalized there. There's a train that's going up to Washington Amtrak, but as Diane well knows, today's the last day for anybody who wants to make a decision to go that way via Amtrak. If people have any questions, they can check with me or Diane about the march itself. I also wanted to say a word about this special event that we are planning. And when I say we, the Metro Atlanta Democratic Socialists of America has an annual dinner that we've had 4 years in a row. And it's called the Frederick Douglass Eugene V. Debs Dinner. And what we do is we recognize people who've made a contribution to building a stronger, progressive community here in this area. And one of the awardees this year is Anita. And you know about the struggle that she's led to keep the building, to keep the services available, and everybody that she's had to deal with, all the business interests that have been organized against the task force and the work that she's doing. So we want to recognize the work that she is doing. We're also going to be honoring President of CWA Local, that's Communication Workers of America, 3204, Walt Andrews, as well as, and this is a special treat for us, students who are working in solidarity with the food service workers on all of the campuses, Sodexo workers. So we're going to recognize this group of students at the dinner as well. We have on the, as the keynote speaker, and I think this you'll find very interesting, Kim Bobo. Now, Kim Bobo is the executive director of Interfaith Worker Justice. She wrote a book. It's called Wage Theft, and she talks about this as a crime that nobody talks about. You know what that crime is? Low-wage workers, minimum wage workers, having their wages stolen by employers who don't pay them the minimum wage, don't pay them overtime, like Walmart does. They make them work off the clock, and then they do something that's pretty nasty. Besides all of those other things, they mischaracterize them as independent contractors. Now, if you're an independent contractor, that means you got to pay the employer share of the Social Security. That means you don't get unemployment insurance. There's a question about you getting even workers' compensation. Naturally, you don't get health insurance benefits. So she describes in this book as many as 4 million workers are being treated in such an underhand and rotten way. So she's going to be our keynote speaker. The chairs for the event, co-chairs are Charlie Fleming and Richard Ray from the labor movement, AFL-CIO, and Senators Vincent Ford and Ann Orrick. Tickets are $45 each. If people want some more information, I have some leaflets here. We do make allowances. If people can't afford it, we'll find a way. You can have a ticket. It's going to be at Pascal's. It's a buffet, November the 6th, Saturday at Pascal's. Thank you very much.
Say something about Drew. He came to the task force as a volunteer, and this young man is a former Georgia Tech football player. Running back. Yeah. Can we tell? Yeah, we can tell. And he is absolutely exquisite and delightful, and he is just wanting to give back to the community. So, Drew, we are so grateful for a young man in a leadership role and who wants to give back of his time and energy to the community in this way. Thank you for being here.
Drew!
Drew!
Drew! Look at you, man. Look at you, Drew!
I just wanted to add, I'm here just representing the students of Georgia Tech, along with my fraternity of Kappa Alpha Psi Fraternity Incorporated. And also my fraternity brother who wasn't able to be here today, Michael Peterson. He's actually on the football team, so he has football practice right now. But he's also, joining me in leading this movement to basically help, the task force and Ms. Anita in any way possible. So, all right, thank you.
So my name is Diane Mathowitz. I'm with the International Action Center. I'm also a board member of WRFG Radio, and I want to second what Gloria said about that our airwaves are open to people that are working for progressive change here in Atlanta. So you just contact the station if you want to be interviewed on any of our public affairs programs. I think I was supposed to be on the agenda to talk a little bit about Grady Hospital, the situation with the dialysis patients. This has been over 1 year struggle when Grady Hospital, after it had been privatized, the board of directors is now led by corporate officials who look at the bottom line and don't look at healthcare as something that everyone has a right to, but instead as something that generates income. So the dialysis, outpatient dialysis, was closed a year ago. The Grady Coalition, many others, engaged in a year-long struggle because what that meant was that a life-giving treatment, something where if a person who has end-stage renal failure, if they're not given dialysis, they die. They die within 2 weeks. Their system is shut down. So this wasn't something, that was sort of not important or of a minor character. It was actually a death panel. The Grady board sentenced people to die. So there was a fight, and it was engaged in the public. We had demonstrations, we packed board meetings, we did all kinds of things, and eventually they just kept extending a deadline and a deadline and a deadline. You may have seen in the news, so there was another deadline. August 31st, the patients were told that that was the end of any treatment they were going to get with Grady picking up the bill. So there, again, there were a series of demonstrations, and what has happened is through the auspices really of County Commissioner Larry Johnson in DeKalb, an agreement has been reached, and I want to say it's again a temporary agreement. It does last a year. It gives people who are very, very ill the kind of comfort that for a year they may have their very serious disease taken care of. But there's a bunch of loopholes to this, as there always is, when business leaders try to pull a slick maneuver. And so I want to say that we have to be vigilant, because one of the things is they're going to require people to pay. And so if they don't have money, we don't know what that means. And again, it is only for a year. And during that period of time, they have to reapply for Grady cards and resubmit themselves to a bunch of bureaucratic red tape. So I just want to ask people to be alert on this situation. And of course, the biggest issue is that this provides no medical care for anybody who's poor, who doesn't have insurance, who's an undocumented person, who's been diagnosed with renal failure in the last year. Those folks are not included in this situation. So the crisis of medical care remains an important thing that all of us need to battle for, that health care is a right, and it does not depend on how many dollars you have in your pocket. I don't want to speak much longer. There's just so many things going on in Metro Atlanta and throughout the country, fighting back against the rising unemployment, the cost of the war, the foreclosures, just on and on. I wanted to say that the International Action Center puts out a weekly calendar of progressive events, and it is open to your organizations. If you are having a public forum on an issue, it's not for organizing meetings or things like that, but if you're having a benefit, if you're having a film, if you're having a speaker that addresses an issue, the IAC email calendar goes out to about 5,000 people, and we would be glad to further the education of the people that get the email about the issues that you're working on. So I've got a piece of paper back by that back table. You can just put your address, your email address, and your name. And I want to say Anita has, again, put an article that I wrote on the Grady dialysis on the table. But it's also in Workers' World newspaper, and I've got copies of it back there. And it also has an article by Roger Sykes, who's one of the young people that's going to be honored at the DSA dinner, who's working on the Sodexo campaign. Thank you for your attention.
Diana, keep your contact information too, email.
Oh, okay. Email is Atlanta, spelled all the way out, and IAC@AOL.com. And we also have lots of great videos because Ozzy is our videographer first. Thank you.
Just a quick question, Diane. I know here, Labor Month. This is Labor Month, Labor Day. There's a lot of speeches about labor, relationships of labor, the economy, and I know very soon there will be marches concerning jobs, things like that. I wanted really some insight as to the job situation. Because the way I see it, there are jobs that are no longer there. Right, there are some jobs that people can't go back to. So what is really the progressive sort of stance in terms of joblessness? Because there seems to be a permanent unemployment number. It's moving up. It's not the 5 or the 4% it used to be. It's going to probably be 7 or 9. Yeah, something like that. And so so when you march and you want to be progressive about this, really, what's the stance on that? Because
I'll just say real fast what our position is. For those who are, or who have parents who were here during the Great Depression, you know that there was a government program that directly employed people. The money didn't go through a corporation who could then siphon off big bucks and then go to some workers. It was a direct employment, and what it did is it built highways and schools and libraries and dams and electrification and the things that had a permanent contribution to the development of a community. And that, in my opinion and my organization's opinion, is the immediate answer. Now, long-term answers are, why is it that so much money is siphoned off to war and profits of multinationals? But in the short term, why is it that the tax dollars aren't going directly to employ people to do the jobs that everywhere in our communities we see need done? And even the ones that the Obama administration has come up with, still for the most part, go through 2, 3, 4 intermediaries, and then there's no noticeable real difference at the grassroots. And so I'm hoping that this job march, October 2nd, makes that very clear, that what is needed is to quit diverting tax dollars into corporate hands who then figure out or even agencies, and instead, let's fix the roads, the bridges.
NC Tate tried to retire, I think, and cannot. As a lifelong, I'd say he's an activist servant and a servant activist and a mentor to many of us. So I'm so glad to see you. Please come up and share with us what you will.
The Hotel family, brothers and sisters, I just had almost like an emotional explosion You said it for me a long time ago to come up, and I wasn't ready to do it. But the way the world works, and for instance, I got the notion to come here because IAC showed up on my computer.
That's right.
And my computer had crashed a couple of months ago, but then it came back. But when it came back, there were certain things that was being spammed. And me being a cretin on computer illiterate, I didn't. It took me a while to ferret out the spam and get it back so I could get the information. And what was on the information was this meeting right here, and I decided to drop everything to come here. I've been retired. I retired from Trinity House about 2.5 years ago, primarily because HUD was sticking their finger so much into what we were doing in terms of relating to the type of population that we relate to that I just wasn't having it anymore. But now I'm working with my wife's business, and now it looks like it's taken off. I used to be out of town more than I'm in town, and hopefully that's getting ready to change because it's taken off in a thing where I don't have to be running around doing a lot of stuff. And I will be going to D.C. on October the 2nd. Where's the young brother? I'm a noob too, brother, so fine newbie. Understand? So this is the other thing about this explosion. Then the Slaughters talked about the issues that are going on, and I've been extremely concerned about this Tea Party and the way these conservatives just lie. And the only thing that's going to trump that is that enough of us become active again. Okay, we got to be showing up, being involved on committees in our organizations and pushing, for not only for legislation and policies, but to get other folks to come out and vote. We can't be sitting back freezing while these Tea Partiers are running amok because they're getting misinformed. Okay, so I just wanted to come up and talk about that. By the way, I'm a Vietnam veteran. I've been, and I worked with the folks in Milwaukee to start the Dayton, Ohio chapter when I was up there. I need to file for the PTSD. All my friends, they run around talking about I'm shell shocked. They've been saying that ever since I got back from Vietnam. So there's so many things that are cohesive here. This is a coincidence that's happening all at once. It's like the Creator saw to it that I got here today. And so I'm still, when I have the time, working with the juveniles and the New Beginnings program at the jail, and anything else that I can do in my spare time to try to remain active and to try to serve the people. And it's just so refreshing to be back here, even at Antioch. This has all kinds of memories to me as well, because Joe and them have a lot of programs going on here. So it's just good to be amongst folk and family, former family, new family, and thanks a lot for having me come up and share in here.
Leonard has hundreds of stories, and one of the best ones I know about is Bakari Vickerson. Bakari Vickerson, a young man, beautiful young man, having trouble, getting in trouble, lovely mother, single mother, but father around. And he got matched up with MC Tate and MC's program at Trinity House, before Trinity House became Trinity House, but when it was at Trinity Church. And the recovery program there has been a miracle for just countless young men. And that program, the last time I saw Bakari was there was a big celebration, and it was Concerned Black Clergy celebration, and they were honoring fathers and men. And Bakari was one of the honorees. And he is a doctor. He is a doctor. He went to Howard University, he got his medical degree, and now he's a doctor. And always was a beautiful, wonderful leader of a young man, but now he's healthy and whole, and I think thanks to MC Tate, as hundreds and hundreds of other folks. Diane's faithfulness in her witness, and many people in this room, but I think of Diane and the Grady Coalition, and the difference that it's made to the lives of those last 41 or 38, however you count, people. There were 91 people who were getting twice a week, I believe, 3 times a week, dialysis care at Grady Hospital. They were patients at Grady for a long time. Undocumented means nothing if you're a patient and getting care that your life depends on, right? They were patient. So Grady didn't say, we can't serve you because you're undocumented. They took them in and they were patients of that hospital. The hospital then decided, not because of and this is my opinion, not because of a $4 million deficit at the end of the year, because they just spent $1 million on their public relations campaign to spin Grady Hospital's image away from what we know the truth is, and that is that Grady doesn't want to serve poor people, that the people who are controlling this city don't want poor people living in this city. We are losing half of Martyr Wraps. We've lost Grady Hospital for poor people. The housing authority the housing authority exists, but we have torn down all of the housing that we had that was subsidized in the city, all of it. There are studies now to show how many of the seniors who lost their housing have died since they were displaced. And we are reading the studies and saying, wow, it's almost like we've seen it on television. Y'all, this is us. It's our city. It's a life and death issue. And in about a month and a few days, we will all go to the Cathedral of St. Philip and celebrate the memorial, the requiem that we have done. This will be the 22nd year to remember those people who died homeless during the past year. And I remember the first year. The first year we said, we're going to do this and it's going to be so powerful and we're going to end homelessness, which has been our mission. And the task force will be 30 years old in January. 30 years old. And it's 10 times worse now than it was when we started, when that organization started. And what it takes to be faithful in the face of all that is to be in community with others who suffer and have suffered and who cannot stand by and watch or experience suffering for other people. So this community is what matters. This being with the people we are with every day at Peachtree Pine, I fall down on my knees and thank God I get to be there. I am blessed among all people because I get to be there. And that saves my soul every day that I wake up.
You better believe it.
There you go. So that's the answer. If you want your soul saved, say, do what you do, keep doing it, and let's hang together. And let's play a little more. You know, I'm in my 69th year, so I'm finally discovering that play is a good thing.
For the second year.
You know, yeah.
You've been 69 for 2 years.
Wait a minute. That's not true. That's not true. Wait a minute. I have to set the record. The record is this. My birthday is in April, and I was 68 in April on the 18th. And we usually have shopping countdown from January. How many shopping days left? I do it at the task force, and then on my birthday, I walk in and say, oh, how did you know? And so as soon as I'm 68, I say I'm in my 69th year, which is true. But I haven't said 69 in 2 years. I'll be 69 next year. And I also get to be married to this man, which keeps me young. Or keeps me in the shape I'm in.
Back baby.
Your Majesty.
Do I have the floor?
Yes.
As I sat back there today, listening and looking, I must say, and I hope I can do this without tears, this is the best providers meeting I've ever attended.
Thanks to Ozzy.
And it's because Ozzy gave you the opportunity to tell what you do. When I think of people like Leonard Tate and Diane, and we could go around the room to every one of you, realizing the thousands upon thousands of people who've been helped, who are being helped today through what you are doing. And I just had to come up here and say thank you for that. And I think it's time that we united, that we stand together. I absolutely adore the fact that we've got socialists and Baptists around the same table. I just love that. And I guarantee you, if you're a believer and think of Jesus of Galilee as I do, you'll know that he loves that too. And I thank you so much. One word I want to close. Our task force board is rejuvenated. Our transitional program is rejuvenated. When I look at Troy and Maurice, I mean, these are our babies. These are my sons. And thousands just like this. And there's a man on our board who called me yesterday and said, I want some information. I want your blog. I want this, that. I want to hear everything. I want to know about the lawsuits. He said, I had a man call me and say, I was going to write a check to the task force, but I thought y'all had closed down. We know that the building's been foreclosed, but I drove by Peachtree Pine, and there was activity. You had security people around there. It looked great. You're not closed down. You see, we need to talk about each other. We need to tell each other. I need to tell people what I heard today, what you people are doing for veterans. We need to do this. You need to know that a judge in Superior Court of Fulton County is deciding who is going to own Peachtree Pine, the people who stole it or the people who are in it. I beg you to come by and see us. Just come visit us. Just come see what's going on there. See this transitional team. See our resident volunteers. See our work beds. See our garage population. It's changing for the better every day. Metamorphosis from a caterpillar to a butterfly. That's what's going on at Peachtree Pine. So I just wanted to take this minute. You know, I don't often get a word in. I won't mention any names, but I just had to come and say thank you, first of all, for being here, but more than that, bless you for what you do.